welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling a really fascinating story in the cannabis world. Skittles.
That name definitely rings a bell for a lot of people.
Right. You've probably heard of it, maybe even tried that super distinct candy flavor. We're using the Nug Notes article, Taste the Ztrainbow, the Skittles origin story, as our map today.
It's a great source for this.
And really our goal, our mission, is just to figure out how Skittles blew up and what its legacy actually is.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable how one specific plant, one phenotype, can kind of shake up an entire industry.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Mendocino. There's this grower, gas station Bob.
Right.
And he finds what they call a keeper cut. It's an indica-leaning hybrid, comes from Grape Ape and Grapefruit. So what made this one the keeper?
Well, this specific plant, this phenotype, it just showed, really exceptional characteristics. Something about its structure, its aroma, it just stood out from the others from those seeds.
Okay, different expressions from the same genetics, basically.
Exactly. And this one was special. It was later stabilized, which helped lock in those unique traits.
Gotcha. Then, around 2013, maybe 2014, these guys, Terp Hogz.
The collective, Fields, Tony Mendocino, John Doe.
Yeah, them. They get hold of it, and they recognize something. They're the ones who name it Skittles, right? Because of that smell.
Precisely. That intense, almost artificial, candy-like terpene profile. It was unmistakable. Terpenes being those aromatic compounds, of course.
And they didn't just name it. They teamed up with third-gen family and dying breed seeds. Some pretty established names.
Yeah, that was smart. Terp Hogz saw the potential, the branding in that flavor, but partnering with third gen and dying breed gave them the scale and, frankly, the credibility to really push it into the spotlight, get it into competitions. It was a key collaboration.
Right, makes sense. And didn't take long to get noticed. I see here, even back in 2013, something called Pineapple, which was a Skittles cut from Connoisseur Union. It placed 9th at the Emerald Cup.
Which is pretty good for something essentially brand new on the scene, a little sign of things to come.
But the real explosion was later.
Oh, yeah. The breakout moment was definitely when the Dookie brothers grew it. They won first place Best Indica at the High Times Cannabis Cup in Michigan in 2015, and then they took the overall first place at the Emerald Cup in 2016.
Wow, beating out all the established stuff.
Exactly. That really turned heads. It wasn't just some novelty anymore. It was winning the big ones.
And that must have sent the demand and the price just soaring.
Absolutely. We're talking like top shelf Skittles packs fetching, reportedly $3,500, maybe even $4,000 between 2016 and 2018. Insane prices.
Crazy. And our source says this really cemented that fruit over fuel trend. Flavor became the main event.
It really did. It signaled a shift. People started prioritizing these unique, loud terpene profiles over, say, just THC percentage or the traditional gas or earthy smells. It became about the flavor experience, connoisseurship, really.
And the original Skittles, it basically became the foundation for a whole new wave of strains, didn't it? This terp empire.
That's a good way to put it, yeah. You got Runtz, which is Skittles crossed with Gelato 33, a huge hit. Rozé, which is a Skittles back cross. Blue Zushi. Skittles crossed with Kush Mints. Breeders were chasing that Skittles magic.
I'm trying to capture that candy flavor profile.
Exactly. It proved how valuable those specific genetics were.
But success attracts attention, not always the good kind. The Skittles candy company, Mars-Wrigley, they weren't thrilled.
No, they weren't. They filed a lawsuit in 2021 over the name trademark infringement.
Which led to a settlement in 2023, right? And now it's officially marketed as the original Z.
Correct. A necessary rebranding. It definitely highlights the ongoing tension between the cannabis industry and, well, mainstream intellectual property law as things get more commercial.
Interesting point. But even with the name change, the genetics were already out there, like everywhere.
Oh, completely. By 2020, the Skittles genetics, whether through clones or seeds, had spread like wildfire. You saw it in hash holes, vape carts, edibles. It even made its way into cannabis clubs over in Europe. It went global, fast.
Shows the demand, I guess.
Absolutely. A unique, high-quality product in a globally connected market. It just took off.
And the article argues it fundamentally shifted the culture. Flavor became king. It says over 100 strains trace back to Skittles now.
That's the core takeaway, I think.
Yeah.
Skittles really did redefine value for a huge segment of the market. It put terpenes, specifically those candy terps, front and center.
It's funny, though, the source mentions there's still some debate about who the definitive creator is.
Well, yeah, because it was a process, right? Gas Station Bob found the initial keeper cut.
Okay.
Terp Hogz recognized its potential, named it, branded it.
Right.
And then third-gen family and dying breed seeds helped propagate and scale it. It wasn't just one person. It was a collective effort, really.
Makes sense. A very collaborative origin.
Exactly, which is common in cannabis breeding history, honestly.
So wrapping this up then, Skittles starts, kind of unexpectedly, this unique flavor profile sends it rocketing to fame. It faces legal hurdles, spreads globally, and just fundamentally changes the game, making flavor the top priority for many.
That sums it up perfectly. A single unique plant cutting really did spark a revolution in taste.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? How often does some small, maybe overlooked discovery in any field end up having such a massive ripple effect? What other little innovations might be out there poised to transform things in ways we don't expect?
Definitely food for thought.
Well, thanks for digging into this with us today. That was our deep dive into the Skittles story.